Now, Fox News continues to get it shocked by real people and how they feel about the issues. Turns out a lot of people are actually fairly progressive, especially on issues like single-payer healthcare or just healthcare in general, and even climate change. Now, Fox and Friends reporter Todd Pirro recently went to a diner in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and found that one guest does actually believe that climate change is one of the most pressing issues of the day. Now, this is a surprise to Fox News because they do this thing where they go to the diners and they talk to older people and they're like, hey, what do you think about this issue? And normally it usually lines up with, of course, what Fox News is already saying. Oh, the Muslims are dangerous and we don't want a socialist in the White House, et cetera, et cetera. Trump is right on this and the Democrats are right on that, are wrong on that, and they, whatever, right? But in this case, as I'm about to show you, is actually quite different. Take a look.
Your daughter, Kristen, is a student, and she says when you're talking to your friends about an issue, the number one issue that you guys focus on is climate change. Why?
Ultimately, the other issues are all solvable, but if the planet starts catching on fire and we're all dead, it doesn't do us any good to see how much money we can make.
But what's interesting, you said you and your dad were talking about this very issue a few days ago and not had an argument, but had a heated discussion about how to pay for it.
Yeah, we have political discussions all the time, and this was just one of them. And we always try to open each other's minds to new ideas and just, expand our world a little bit.
I love it. I love it when young people are actually given a chance to speak because you find out that they're actually a lot smarter than people give them credit for, right? And so she's like, yeah, look, the planet's going to be on fire. It doesn't matter how much money you're going to make. And I want to have discussions with people and I want to open each other's minds and I'm open to new ideas and I want to learn as much as I can. But that's why I have these discussions. I'm not entrenched in my ways. I'm actually following where the facts are. And that's why I love people like this. So, and I think it's great. And I also think it's great that young people have been stepping up all over the country. I mean, look, we saw that with March for Our Lives after the Newtown shooting and now the Sunrise Movement, which is promoting action against climate change. They're fighting for climate justice. And they're saying, look, I mean, what they're saying is simple when it comes to climate change. We're going to have to live in this world long after you're dead. And I don't want to live in a world that's on fire, that's ravaged by climate change. And so I don't want to have to clean up your mess. You should clean up your own mess and actually do something about this before it kills us all. So stop ignoring the problem and come up with a solution before we destroy ourselves. And so, of course, on that, now Pirro brings up the talking point, right? And this is actually a big admission, right? Yeah, but you have the discussion of how you're going to pay for it, right? And her response is, yeah, of course we're going to have discussion. We're going to discuss it based on facts because we've already established that climate change is a real problem, is a real issue, right? And so, and when it comes to the idea of paying for it, guys, we already are paying for it. I mean, last year, 13 federal agencies issued a major report on the impacts of climate change on our country. I mean, like they said, quote, without substantial and sustained global mitigation and regional adaptation efforts, climate change is expected to cause growing losses to American infrastructure and property and impede the rate of economic growth over this century. The report also says that over the last decade, the effects of climate change has cost the U.S. over $350 billion. And according to a report released in 2017 from the nonpartisan federal, actually that number is 350 million, I think. Yeah, so that's a wrong number on that. It's actually 350 million. But according to numbers from the Government Accountability Office, by 2050, that figure will be $35 billion a year. Okay, so maybe I'm going to do a correction of a correction here. I actually did read that wrong. That's $350 billion over the last decade. And after by 2015, that figure will be $35 billion a year. So that's a lot of money. That's an enormous amount of money, which is why it caused me to do like a double take. I'm like, wait a minute. We spent that much already on climate change over the last decade, $35 billion or $350 billion. And that's going to be $35 billion a year. Man. And those costs include cleanup and disaster assistance from flooding and storms, which are set to increase under rising temperatures. So we're already paying for this. And it's only going to get worse and more expensive if we don't actually do something. And a lot of people, especially young people, right? They're starting to get it. They're starting to understand, and they're calling on us older people, us adults, to actually do something about it. So why don't we? Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.